May 3rd, 2007. A golden sunset wrapped Praia de Luz, Portugal in calm as vacationers settled into a warm evening at the Ocean Club Resort. Among them, Kate and Gerry McCann, two doctors from England, dined with friends at the Tapas restaurant, just 50 meters away, and apartment 5A, their three young children slept. 3-year-old Madeleine and 2-year-old twins Sean and Emily. The evening followed a familiar rhythm. The group of friends, later known as the Tapas 7, took turns checking on their children every 20 to 30 minutes. It felt safe, ordinary, secure. But beneath that normality, a storm quietly brewed. At 9:05 p.m., Gerry walked back to the apartment for a routine check. The nightlight cast a soft glow. Madeleine slept peacefully beneath her pink blanket. But something felt off. The bedroom door was ajar, more open than he remembered. The curtain stirred. Gerry assumed it was a breeze and returned to dinner, unaware of the weight those few minutes would carry. At 9:30 p.m., their friend Matthew Oldfield offered to check. He saw the twins breathing steadily, but didn't look closely at Madeleine's bed. Everything seemed fine. Then came 10 p.m. Kate went to check. Expecting calm, she walked in, and the nightmare began. The window was open, the shutters raised. Madeleine's bed empty. Her scream shattered the night. "They've taken her." The phrasing stunned many. Why, "they've taken her," instead of "she's gone" or "I can't find her"? Panic or something deeper? Her words became a global echo. Within minutes of Kate's chilling scream, chaos erupted. Vacationers, staff, and locals fanned out across the resort, calling Madeleine's name. Flashlights scanned alleyways, pools, and unlocked rooms, but the search lacked direction. Crucially, apartment 5A was never sealed. Dozens trampled through, contaminating potential evidence. The police response was slow. The GNR, Portugal's local police, arrived at 10:40 p.m., about 40 minutes after the alarm. They failed to secure the scene or issue border alerts. Crucial hours slipped away. No Amber Alert system existed in Portugal at the time. Even worse, nearby CCTV footage that might have caught a kidnapper was overwritten before investigators could review it. The Polícia Judiciária, responsible for serious crimes, didn't take over until much later. By then, the damage was done. Early witness statements conflicted. Rumors spread. Every hour without clarity widened the gap between fact and fiction. Investigators missed vital opportunities. The resort's layout, which could have offered insight into escape routes or suspicious activity, wasn't thoroughly documented. No proper canvassing was conducted that night. The scene was a mess, both physically and procedurally. Its sunrise tainted Praia de Luz in soft light. It brought no answers, only headlines and heartbreak. The search for Madeleine had begun under a cloud of irreversible mistakes. Madeleine's disappearance exploded across global news within 24 hours. Her hazel eyes and sweet smile filled newspapers, screens, and posters. Kate and Gerry McCann became household names, their private grief laid bare before an audience of millions. The British press led the charge, often painting the McCanns as victims of unthinkable loss. Meanwhile, Portuguese tabloids offered a more skeptical lens, highlighting inconsistencies and local frustration. With no suspect and no resolution, the media turned the mystery into a spectacle. Cameras camped outside the Ocean Club. Every tear, every word, every gesture was broadcast. Kate's composure was dissected. Her refusal to cry publicly drew criticism. Her white pants, her rosary, her press conferences, every detail became ammunition for speculation. Public opinion split.
Some empathized with the McCanns. Others whispered about sedatives, accidents, and cover-ups. Talk shows debated their parenting choices. Social media swirled with theories. As weeks passed, Priory Luz transformed into the epicenter of a global obsession. The media's constant presence complicated police work, yet also fueled international pressure. The McCanns hired PR teams and launched a website. Donations poured in, hope surged, but so did scrutiny. The world watched, but answers remained elusive. In September 2007, 4 months after Madeleine vanished, the unthinkable happened. Kate and Gerry McCann were officially named arguidos, or suspects, by Portuguese police. The public was stunned. How did grieving parents become the focus of a criminal investigation? Portuguese investigators had long suspected inconsistencies. Why had Kate immediately screamed they'd taken her without searching? Why were there no signs of forced entry? The media pounced. Headlines screamed the betrayal. Sympathy gave way to suspicion. Forensic dogs brought from the UK, Eddie and Keela, alerted to the scent of death behind the sofa and in the trunk of a car the McCanns rented 25 days later. The dogs also reacted to Kate's clothing and Madeleine's favorite toy, Cuddle Cat. These alerts weren't proof, but they intensified the spotlight. Why would cadaver scent linger on Kate's clothing or on Madeleine's toy? Speculation soared. Theories emerged about sedation, suggesting the children had been given sleep aids and something went tragically wrong. Yet there was no physical proof, no toxicology, no confession. To investigators, it was a riddle. The evidence was tantalizing but not definitive. For the public, it created a cloud of suspicion that never quite lifted. The rental car especially became a focal point. Why rented a week later? Why would it contain those traces? The questions only grew.
As the case unfolded, whispers of sedation emerged, an unsettling theory that gained traction among investigators and the public alike. Reports surfaced suggesting the McCanns may have given their children sleep-inducing medication, possibly to ensure they slept soundly while the adults dined nearby. Calpol, a common children's medicine, was mentioned in the media, though it is not a sedative. Still, suspicion lingered. Critics pointed to the twins' unbroken sleep during the chaos following Madeleine's disappearance. How could 2 toddlers sleep through shouting, search efforts, and sirens? Some experts suggested it was unlikely without sedation. Kate McCann, a trained general practitioner with anesthetic knowledge, became the focus of these assumptions. No evidence ever confirmed drug use. There was no toxicology report, no prescription, and no confession. But the absence of proof didn't silence a theory. It fueled it. Online forums exploded with debates dissecting timelines and behavior. Kate's refusal to answer questions about medication further fanned the flames. Supporters saw it as a mother protecting her grief. Skeptics saw evasion. In a case starved of answers, even speculation held weight. The sedation theory lingered, never proven, never dismissed, becoming a key thread in the tapestry of doubt surrounding Madeleine's disappearance. In the early days, the media stood firmly with the McCanns. British outlets covered their heartbreak with compassion. Their pain became a nation's pain. But as inconsistencies emerged, headlines shifted. Sympathy turned to suspicion. Kate's press appearances, once symbols of resilience, were now dissected for coldness. Why didn't she cry more? Why did she still wear makeup? Her strength, once praised, was recast as indifference. The media narrative warped. Opinion columns questioned their parenting, their decision to dine away from the children, their PR machine. Tabloids in Portugal were even harsher. Leaks from within the investigation painted a damaging picture.
The McCanns fought back, hiring lawyers, launching lawsuits, and trying to regain control of their story. But the damage was done. Public support fractured. Donation campaigns were met with cynicism. Internet forums accused them of fraud, of murder, of staging a kidnapping. Each theory found its audience. The McCanns' every move was scrutinized, whether they smiled, traveled, or held hands. Their tragedy became tabloid fodder. The media, once a source of hope, became another adversary. In a vacuum of solid evidence, perception became reality. The court of public opinion rendered verdicts daily, shaped by headlines, not facts. In 2008, Gonçalo Amaro, the lead Portuguese investigator, released a bombshell, his book, Maddie, The Truth of the Lie. In it, he claimed Madeleine died accidentally in the apartment and that the McCanns staged her abduction to cover it up. The allegations were incendiary. Amaro's theory was built on the cadaver dog alerts, the lack of forced entry, and the McCanns' immediate certainty she had been taken. He pointed to inconsistencies in their accounts and suggested a possible cover-up with help from the Tappet Seven. The book was a bestseller in Portugal, but it also set off a legal war. The McCanns sued Amaro for defamation, winning an initial ruling that banned the book. Amaro appealed, and in 2017, Portugal's Supreme Court overturned the decision, citing freedom of expression. Amaro's credibility was also questioned. He had previously been convicted for falsifying evidence in another missing child case. Still, his book amplified public doubt and fueled a cultural divide between British and Portuguese observers. For the McCanns, the accusations were devastating, not just because of the content, but because it came from the man who led the initial investigation. The rift between them and Portuguese authorities grew deeper, complicating any future cooperation. In 2020, a new name shook the case: Christian Brueckner, a 43-year-old German man with a disturbing criminal history. Brueckner was serving time for drug trafficking and the rape of a 72-year-old woman in Portugal, just miles from the Ocean Club resort. German authorities declared him the prime suspect in Madeleine's disappearance. His phone had pinged in the vicinity of the McCann's apartment the night Madeleine vanished. He lived in the camper van nearby and was known for burglaries and sexual assaults, especially against children. Brueckner's past was horrifying. In 2016, German police discovered child abuse material and gross swimsuits at his home. A former associate claimed Brueckner had confessed during a drunken conversation, saying he knew what happened to Madeleine. Authorities began searching wells and properties in Germany and Portugal, but no physical evidence connecting Brueckner to Madeleine has been found. He denies involvement. Despite limited proof, his history and proximity to the crime scene, many see him as the most viable suspect. Yet the case against him remains circumstantial. The McCanns, though cautious, expressed hope this lead might finally bring answers. But until charges are filed, Brueckner remains another name in a long list of unanswered questions. 18 years on, the disappearance of Madeleine McCann remains one of the world's most confounding mysteries. Despite hundreds of leads, international cooperation, forensic searches, and millions spent, there's still no definitive answer. How did a child vanish from a locked apartment in a crowded resort? Why was the window open, but the shutter undamaged? Why did Kate scream they'd taken her without searching first? Why did cadaver dogs alert in multiple areas tied to the McCanns? Why did Christian Brueckner's phone connect near the apartment that night? And why was his number on a staff member's phone at the Ocean Club resort? Coincidence or leak? Then there's the unanswered question of the rental car. Why did it test positive for cadaverine weeks after the disappearance? If Madeleine was abducted, how would her scent end up there? None of these questions have received satisfactory answers. Some theorize an abduction, others point to accidental death and the cover-up. Theories of trafficking, police corruption, and media manipulation all swirls. Each answer only leads to more questions. And as we dig deeper, the truth seems to slip away. In a case defined by shadows, it's the unanswered that haunt us most.
One of the most haunting clues in the case was Christian Brueckner's van. In 2007, Brueckner lived out of a Volkswagen camper near the Ocean Club Resort. Just one day after Madeleine's disappearance, he abruptly sold the van and fled to Germany. This sudden move raised serious suspicions. The vehicle itself, potentially a mobile crime scene, was not examined until years later. By then, any forensic traces would have been long gone. Investigators struggled to reconstruct its history or determine whether Madeleine had ever been inside. Yet the van's proximity, Brueckner's criminal background, and his hasty departure forms a disturbing pattern. Further complicating the matter, Christian Brueckner had a known associate who worked at the Ocean Club. Records suggest he may have had access to guests' routines and locations, including the McCann's dining habits. Was the van used to abduct and move Madeleine? Or was it a coincidence wrapped in a sinister context? The timing and behavior were damning, but the lack of physical evidence left authorities in a bind. The van became a symbol of lost time, missed opportunities, and leads that were pursued too late. In a case filled with almost, it was yet another key that failed to unlock the truth.